alternative. 10 men or 10 bears?
Where, in the woods
In
or
the
like
woods.
in
Oh, that sounds like
bears.
a recipe for disaster. Yeah, bears.
Still bears.
Bears.
Yeah.
Even though there would be
No,
enough good men in that group.
I think I would rather get eaten by a bear than what would happen in that
No,
scenario.
10
I'd rather
men.
be eaten by a bear than
Hold on. So 10 men or 10 bears? So you'd still
10
prefer the
bears.
bears? What about you?
bears.
So what percentage of those 10 men do you think would? Because I'm assuming they're
Here's the
victimizing
thing.
you.
If there's
They-
one bad man, then it stands to reason that the men he hangs out with and his friends
They're not. Let's
They're
say
random
they're all
are
strangers.
probably.
Let's say they're all strangers.
They're like, it ain't fun if the
They're
homies
just-
can't have
they're
none. You
just-
know what I mean?
what,
Oh my
going on a
God.
hike in the woods?
So what percentage of men do you think? Okay, so there's 10 men or 10 bears. You still pick the 10 bears. What percentage of the 10 men are bad men then?
It just takes one. If one
No,
of them
because
is
No,
there's
but
9 good
let's say
men,
they're all-
gonna protect you.
Let's
Will they? Because
let's say you're all in the same
if that's
region.
what makes a
how
man
often
good.
do men stand around and watch their friend or their buddy or
Yeah.
some random man do some fuck and not intervene?
I will say though, I think it's
That's like
interesting.
so
You said-
R-slurred.
actually, Brian,
That's so R-slurred,
You said
bro.
that you wouldn't intervene. Are you saying you're not a good man because you wouldn't take a bullet for a woman from a bad man in the woods?
Hold on.
Hold on.
That's a good point.
That's
If I was with if there was one man
You
who
wouldn't
was
be
assaulting,
willing. Yeah, you wouldn't be willing to step
Yeah,
in
would you
and
step
risk
in?
your life to step in. So are you a bad man?
if you wouldn't do it for your wife,
Actually,
would
I
you
don't
do it
think
for
that.
random?
I think a man's unwillingness to potentially intervene in a scenario where he could face,
But
he
you
could
have
die.
8 other buddies.
Oh well,
in this
that
scenario,
yeah, then we'll
that's-
fuck him
it's
up.
the 10 men
Then
in
we're
the
good.
woods and there's one bad
yes.
man.
If there's okay.
What if
yes,
it's like
if I
5
got
versus
if there's
5?
9 of us.
But if you're
we're
all
good.
hanging out, if
Okay,
one
but what
man's
if
a
there
bad
was
man,
2 men in the woods, you were one of them, and the other one was like attacking her? Would you?
yeah, then what?
I would have to assess the threat there. I would attempt to intervene.
As long as you would attempt
as long
it.
as you'd make
the
an
intent
attempt.
would be to help.
I think I would
You think
attempt.
about it.
I think I would
Is
attempt
it,
an
it's the
intervention.
thought that counts.
I think
as I'm getting like mauled by the
maybe.
bear.
maybe, not totally sure.
Brian, help me.
Like I'm gonna be super honest. I'm gonna be super honest. Okay, if he's like 300 pounds and like 6'5", and if I attempt to intervene, I'm gonna die.
But also,
I'm-
she's
I'm
a
out,
random
bro.
woman. It's
I'm
a
out.
random woman. So
Yeah, and
that
she's
you
random.
don't
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
Not your wife.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out.
I'm out.
But what if he's like, what if the 300 pounds is just like all fat and he's just like running?
Sit on you and die.
Basically, a bear gay man would be the same equivalent of what used to be I can't say that word, but that thing. Yep.
Like a,
Okay, hold on. So, really 10 men? That's crazy because that means you think that more than like 50% of men would like do some shady
Oh, I do think it's interesting that we're the only 2 that do OnlyFans and we feel this way. I just have to say.
Yeah.
I don't know what I
It's
mean
weird.
by that, but it's just an interesting.
I used to.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. That is interesting.
Well, you
Tell
didn't
me
do
more
boy-girl
about why
content.
We're
You do,
terrified.
Like,
lets
I
you
interact
having
with
massive
a large
distrust of
variety of men on
from
a
the
very
sex
regular
industry.
basis.
Tell us more.
I mean,
Oh, I'm so sorry, Andrew. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Yeah, so I was saying, tell us more about how distrust of men comes from the sex industry. I'd like to hear more about that.
I'm not saying it does, but I do think there's a correlation. Probably we could both admit that we're terrified because I think it's just interesting we're the only 2 that answered this.
I think I've probably seen and met and been intimate with more men than anybody at this table. So
Is that like a badge of honor? Or?
yeah, honestly, like thank you.
It is?
But
Do you get like a
but I would just say I
prostitution
have a
gold
much
star for that, or-
larger. I have a larger sample size to be drawing my information from.
but your sample
A larger
size is a
sample size of
different
degenerate
sample
men
size,
who
like,
watch
That's true,
pornography.
and that's true. It is a very different sample size. However,
Or it's a
if it's a
different
random
sample.
man I don't know, and I don't know like what pool of samples or whatever the thing, like what kind of man he is. If it's a strange man, I think that
That guy
situation
Slingshot
is.
donated $199. And is it just me or does Andrew look younger for some reason? Lol. Thoughtful face.
Do you find the
Because
fountain
I
of
don't
youth?
have the gray beard that I normally have. That's probably why you think that.
It's
But
the
anyway,
adrenochromes.
appreciate the 200. But kind of back to the conversation. So it's interesting. It is interesting to me that you draw this parallel that the 2 OnlyFans girls who are engaged in sex work, will be as charitable to your language as we possibly can be, I guess, have such a huge distrust of men that they would rather perhaps be in the wilderness with bears than women who deal with, I don't know, non-degenerate men, right?
Yeah, God, what's that say about the degenerate men? I think it says more
And
about
what
them
does
than
that
it
say
says about
about the
me.
women who engage with the degenerate men?
Because you're the one that's sleeping with them.
Okay. Well, have you ever met a degenerate man in your
have.
life? Yeah, like I think
have.
everybody at this table probably has.
I also am not
Yeah,
sleeping
but-
with
sleeping
them.
with them.
But the point here is that how can you in the same breath say, hey, there's nothing wrong with this. This is just it's just a job. But at the same time, the pool of men that you choose from have made you so distrustful of men that you might choose a bear potentially eating your face rather than trust a man because of the type of man you end up having to deal with. Isn't that kind of an insane perspective on life a little bit?
Yes.
Also, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? I can't speak for you, but I feel like maybe bad experiences led me to get into sex work that I had with men prior to
So wait,
being
it's
a sex
men's
worker.
fault that you
No,
got-
I'm not
Hang
saying
on, that's
that.
a
I'm just
diversion of
saying.
accountability.
Oh no, I take full accountability. I make my own choices. I suffer the consequences of my
Well,
own
then how
actions.
is it men? How is
well,
it men who led you
accountability
into sex
and
work?
like the reasoning behind something is a little bit different.
I'm just saying, like, previous to doing OnlyFans, I had certain experiences in life that maybe got me into that line of work.
I take
Oh, like,
accountability
wait,
and I take
what?
responsibility
What?
by not going into the woods with strange men that I don't know and not
Have you
putting
ever had a
myself in
one-night
that
stand?
situation. A one-night stand? No.
Have you ever met a guy and shortly thereafter,
I don't. Well, hang on. I don't understand. If you don't mind if I interject. Earlier, and I took a note on this, you said that you want to be more promiscuous with men. How is it that you can hold the position that you would prefer to be more promiscuous with men, but at the same time not trust them over a f***ing savage bear in the wilderness?
Is
I
it
don't
savage
really
now?
No,
understand.
I don't want to be promiscuous
it was
with
savage?
random men that I don't know. I want to be promiscuous with the guys that I already know and I already like. I'm
Well,
not
I mean,
trying to put myself in an
promiscuity is
unsafe situation just to get off, but I am trying
Yeah.
to get off.
But wait a second. This would. So you're saying that you're only promiscuous with men that you know a really long time?
Not a really long time, but I definitely don't go home with strange men.
That's not my question.
That's just not something I'm
Hang on. Can
personally
you answer the
comfortable
question
with.
I actually asked you?
So the men and as you know, because last time I was on the podcast, I explained this. I only have sex with men in the industry who are in the talent pool.
Yeah,
Usually
that's
men
not
have-
my question.
Okay.
What can let me repeat the question one more time. Are you saying that you only sleep with men who you've known for a really long time?
What's a really long time?
Oh, I don't know. Let's just say more than 30 days.
For me,
No.
yes.
No, it's not even a 30-day
but
gap before you sleep with them. And you're hang on, and your
Well, okay,
position
we're just
here
talking about.
is that hang on. I just want to make sure I get this right. You don't even have a 30-day barrier before you sleep with men. That's the level of promiscuity you're talking about. But yet you're saying I'm so distrustful of men that I'd rather potentially hang out with a wild bear, thinking that they will be less likely to attack me. You see how this rationale doesn't make much sense to me, right?
I'll pull that back up in a sec, Nickelodeon.
Okay, so I lost my train of thought a little bit
Are we
there.
supposed to read it?
I'm in a very unique situation being in the industry. Most of the men that I meet and I have sex with, I met on a having sex with them in a very controlled environment with like lots of other
Well,
people
then what
around.
does
a
I want to
camera
be more
crew.
promiscuous mean? Does that mean that you just want to people in the industry, or does that mean that you want to have sex with people external to that as well?
Just people in the industry. I don't want to be super vulgar on YouTube and get into the specifics of how I want to be more promiscuous. I think-
YouTube doesn't care about the specifics of sex work. They only care if you're preaching for Jesus Christ. Then you'll get banned. They don't care if you talk about whatever degeneracy that you want. They don't give a shit.
Okay, I just don't want to get you guys in trouble. Like, I want to do more more gangbangs, more double penetration, things like that. But I don't mean I want to do that with random strangers or be unsafe or, practice unsafe.
That's disgusting.
Let me interject really quick. Let me read a couple of the chats here, or actually, Natalia, if you can read.
Maybe it is the blank
Corn.
adult brain rot men that have experienced that make them these bad men, able to see nude women whenever they want online, thanks to women like you.
Yo, Nickelodeon.